Hello everybody, my name is Mikhailo, and today I will present you Countable Mental Energy as lecture number 1 in our course. Let's start. So we will have our plan containing 4 items. First one, I will explain you, we'll give an example of a daily life. Second one, we'll go through some raw energy and actions weight. Next one, we will review what is the flow state. In final one, what is countable mental energy in action. Okay, let's start. Let's start with a simple thing. So, as a daily life. As a daily life, we have 24 hours. And mainly 24 hours is actually developed throughout our time. If you look back about a billion years ago, it was around 18 hours. So, in the next probably billion years, it's going to be 28 hours. But now we have 24 hours. So, in order to think, can it be more or less? Yes, it could be more with our years. In a million years, it's going to be 24 hours, a couple of seconds more. So let's just review what do we do daily. And I'm sure it's most of us people. So we wake up early. We go to do some skincare routine. Next, we have some breakfast. After that, we have our road from our home to work. Depends if you're working at home. Next one, when we are at work, we have some time we're spending on work. Then we have our supper soup or whatever meals that we prefer. Next one, we drove back from work to home, and we have some stretching exercises we're doing. Then we spend some time with our family. After we have dinner and we have some nap. And now we have a bit of time for our personal productivity or improvements that we would like, as it's called personal development. Finally, it's night care routine and you're going to sleep. So this is probably most of our days in life. Next one, let's just split in 4 categories or main activities. So let's start from the top activity, and this is when our brain resting, sleep and resting. Next one is when we are having some nutrition, fooding or eating something. Another one when we are exercising, walking, whatever. And the final one on the left is when we are having our process of thinking. Okay, let's just name them. Resting, eating, exercising, working, studying. Well, that's still good, but let's just be more precise. Let's deep dive what each one of those things that we're doing, activities, mean. Okay, let's start from the top. When we are resting, it's cognitive rest and physical rest. So our brain and muscles are resting. Let's move to the right. When we're eating, we're restoring our energy, our life energy, or physical energy and cognitive energy. Next one, we have at the bottom, physical activity. When we are walking, sitting, standing, driving, moving hands, head, speaking, it's physical activity. With mental, of course, and cognitive, but it's physical activity when you're exercising your muscles. And on the left, it's cognitive activity when you're thinking. Now let's just name them as we have physical and cognitive. Let's name if it's physical plus if it's giving us energy, or physical energy, and cognitive plus or minus it gives or takes our energy. So it's simple. If you see a physical rest, when we are in a cognitive rest, it's physical plus and cognitive plus. For the energy restore, when we're eating, we have, of course, our cognitive, we're restoring our cognitive functions and energy, and we have physical restoring. For the physical activity, we actually reducing our physical, so our muscles are tiring up, but they're growing. But cognitively, we are resting. After the gym, you feel a bit more excited and you have a lot of energy. But it's not muscles energy or physical energy, it's cognitive energy. And when you're studying or thinking or working, it takes cognitive energy on the left, C minus. Good. Now we just finished with the first category. Let's just move to the second one. Let's start simply with my example of a day that I'm gonna explain, and we will see how it goes. So, well, I wake up at 8:30 a.m. Then I drink a glass of water and I do a morning skincare routine, showering, teeth brushing. After that, I cook breakfast using 2 eggs and veggies. I use the car to drive to my office. At 10 o'clock, I start working on some tasks. At 13 p.m., I have a lunch and I continue working up until 6 p.m. After that, I go to the local gym, exercise for 2 hours. At 20 o'clock, I cook. And at 21, I'm deeply focused on writing new research about mental energy and then reading a book and going to sleep. Now, this was my day. Well, it's an example, and let's proceed with an exercise. Let's figure out the actions that I did during this day and the time when I started and I finished. Okay, so you see a table here of my actions that I did during the day. About the actions, we'll discuss granularly about 3 types of them in a later lecture. But now, let's just keep simple without any granularity, just simple big tasks or actions. So I woke up at 8:30, so approximately. I drink water, add some walking stuff, say hello to my family for 5 minutes, morning skincare routine for 15 minutes, cooking breakfast for 30 minutes, commuted by car about 30 minutes. I had a work tasks in the first half, then I had a lunch for 30 minutes, then I continue on work tasks and for another 5 hours, approximately 4 and 30, and so on, and then I had go to sleep. Well, let's just decide which task was easy and which was not, because you see that some of the tasks are easy and some are not easy. And let's add another column with just saying it easy, how was it, and figure out. So waking up was easy. Yes, sometimes it's not, but in this case, subjectively, let's select. Drink water was easy. Morning skincare routine, easy. Cook breakfast was not easy. I had some problems with finding eggs in the fridge. Then I had a commute by car, of course, traffic jam. I don't like it. Work tasks were really hard and rough. That as a tech lead, you have to think hard every day. There was lunch, then I relaxed a bit for 30 minutes, and so on. Now, what it gives us? It gives us that we have somewhat a nominal that we should define, but now it's just easy or not easy. Let's move forward. So our action, actually, let's split it into 2 things. Our action either takes energy or gives energy. Now, so either it's giver or taker. Let's define. Let's define action's weight. So if it's energy taker, let's define it from -1 as the lowest energy taker to -10 as the biggest, for the simplicity of this case. For the energy giver, let's decide from +1 to +10 as the energy boost or giver, so from the simplest to hardest boost. Maybe meditation gives you +10. Okay. Now let's subjectively put those numbers in the actions. As an example, when I woke up it was 0, so I did nothing. When I drink water, I boosted myself a bit. So some nutrition, water, it's starting my organism, and +1, let's say. Morning skincare routine. I spent 15 minutes doing some stuff that I really enjoy, but it's super easy. +1. When I cooked breakfast, I was not able to find something. -3. Took my mental activity and some physical. Commute by car. I didn't like it since of the traffic. Let's put -1 as an easy one. Work tasks, -10. So I was fully controlled by the work at this time and was not able to do anything else. And my brain was really melting. And the same goes after the lunch. So, and let's move to the deeply focused research writing. I was deeply focused, but I was not in full speed. So it's -8. And then I had some reading, and it's +1. Just reading, a bit of relaxing. Okay, so now we set our weights to the actions. Then our next step is to calculate them, sum up. What if we sum up all of those things we just calculated subjectively? This is going to be a raw action energy. This is calculated as weight of the action multiplied by the difference between end time and start time of the action. The formula is on the screen. Okay. Now we've defined our raw action energy. And let's calculate total raw energy. Total raw energy will be the sum of all weights in times of our actions. This is the total energy. Now let's calculate it for every action that we have and see what it will be. So let's start from the wake up. 0 multiplied by 0, it's going to be 0. When I drink water, it's going to be +1 multiplied by difference between 8:45 and 8:40. It's going to be 5 minutes. So +1 multiplied by 5 minutes is going to be +5. The same goes for skincare routine. +1 multiplied by +15. It's going to be +15. And the same, let's take a look on the work tasks. So I spent 180 minutes or 3 hours in the morning, and multiplied by -10, it's going to be -1,800. So that amount of points that took out of my energy. And this goes down to every item in the list. And let's sum up. So when we are summing up everything, we'll have -4,900. It is going to be a nominal of total energy, raw total energy as we spent. Okay, it was about the raw energy, but let's imagine that every action we have a context. That you have different state of mind. You have different capabilities. So you can do something better, something where you're bored, or something where you feel anxious. This is called the flow theory. It was created by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi in 1990. The main idea is on the screen. So you have a graph of skills and challenge. You see when you have a low skill and low challenge, you have at some point where you're in uncertainty. Then, example, when you are some professional coder or cycler, you have super skills. But when someone gives you super simple tasks, then you are feeling so bored. Or example, if you are low skill, example at climbing walls, and your challenge is super high, so you'll feel so anxious that you won't be able to finish it. But in a match of your skills and the challenge that you are facing, you or your mind enters the flow state, where you spend less energy than it should have been. In other words, you're optimizing your energy by doing the things that you enjoy and you can. Next, let's add this state in our table. So let's by now just name it by words. Right now we have for the wake up and drink water and morning skincare, I was in normal state, absolutely okay. So I did nothing super unusual. When I cooked breakfast, I was not focused. Since I was not able to find something, I was thinking about absolutely another thing. Now when I commuted by car, I was bored, of course. So, I mean, who likes being in traffic jam? But still depends. And then, while I was working on a focus task with -10 as a weight, I was so focused. And we will check about this later. Like, what does it mean? Now let's name it those state. Let's talk a bit deeply about this in math terms. So the flow state, phi of ice action, by now it's from 0 to 1 inclusively. And if it's 1, then it indicates that no effort and a full effort applied, like I was brushing my teeth. Then if it's in a flow state, like I was deeply coding, or I was researching some paper, or I was discussing some about startups that are with AIs that are currently ongoing in the world, that set me in another flow state. So it's indicated that it reduced perceiving energy cost. Well, now let's subjectively apply this to the table. So I would set it 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 for wake up, drink water, morning skincare, and cook breakfast, and for the commute car. While I was working on the tasks, I would set it twice as normal. So it's gonna be 0.5. That means I was deeply focused and I was in a flow state, but this is subjectively applies to me. This could be in any arbitrary number, but by now, for the sake of this example, it's gonna be 0.5. And the same goes for a couple of those others. Let's check gym exercise, where it is 0.3. This is where I forgot about the time. For 2 hours, I was totally thinking about being my best and doing the best things that I can. And for the research, I was still in a flow state. Good. Now, let's move to the countable mental energy. Let's define action's effective rate. So we've defined the action's weight, but in a context, let's define was it effective. Now we have to multiply our weight on the phi, or the flow state of the ice action, and this is going to be effective rate. This is formula that we will need later. Now, when we defined effective rate, let's define action's effective energy. This is going to be S. Delta energy of effective ice action is going to be flow state of the ice action multiplied by weights of this action and multiplied by delta time. Either way, it's going to be effective rate multiplied by delta time. It's going to be the energy of the actions. Now let's move to the countable mental energy. So now we have to sum all of those effective energies, and we'll have a next formula. So it's going to be a sum of effective rate multiplied by delta time, and moving to the right, it's going to be a sum of flow state multiplied by weights multiplied by delta time. And finally, we'll have our formula of countable mental energy. It's going to be a sum of flow state of actions A multiplied by weights of this action and multiplied by start end time minus start time. And in total, this is going to be countable mental energy. Now, let's apply this to this table. So we'll have somewhat +5 for the drink water, +15 for the morning skincare routine. For cooking breakfast, we'll have -3 multiplied by 30 is going to be -90. And for the work tasks, we'll have, instead of, like, we'll multiply 180 on 0.5. It's going to be minus 100. If you take a look on the previous total raw energy, it was minus 1800. So reduced in 2 times because of the flow state. Now, moving to the countable mental energy. And for the working on other tasks, it took me on a flow normal state because I was quite tired. And it was minus 2700. Let's sum them up. It's going to be minus 3808 in comparison to the 4900 as a total raw energy. This is how approximately subjectively was spent by me. Good. Now, this was a theoretical example how to explain the countable mental energy. Now let's interpret this. What is it? What to do with those points? What is anomalous to them? Is it mental joules or is it something else? Well, let's start with a super simple example with 3 days. Now, let's imagine that we have ground energy. And ground energy, E0, equals to our countable mental energy on the day 1. Now, by the end of the day, let's just set how or decide by your own or myself, was I tired or okay or energized? If I was tired by the end of the day, that means that I don't have that much energy that I've spent. If I'm okay with this, that means that this is exactly the level of my energies that I have. If I feel energized, that means that I have much more energy than I spent during the day. Now, good. So now let's set this 3,800 as my base, since I feel okay. On the next day, let's just do the same stuff. So let's calculate countable mental energy. And was I tired on the next day? If I was tired, that means this is my new energy, ground energy. If I was felt okay, that means this, if this current energy will be, as an example, 4,000, that means this is going to be my new ground energy. And I felt energized, that I would know that I'm sure I have more energy than on the next day, this day. So as an example, it was 3,800, now it was 4,000, and I still feel energized, and I'm sure that I have probably 4,500 points. And on the day 3, let's do absolutely the same steps. And on day K, absolutely the same steps too. This is how we interpret the countable mental energy. This is the same example with 4,000 points that we will be defining. Now, what will be our next steps? Next steps will be talking about variable device for live login and website smeflow.io. As an assignment for today, please try to list your full day of actions, compute delta time, and assign subjectively weights and flow state to each. Then calculate and plot maybe if you lose a couple of days, but calculate SME. And final slide for this. This is going to be a variable device, live login recording. So this is a variable device that I usually wear. And the main goal is that it's super hard to write down the data, and it's not practical. But this we'll be talking about in the next lecture. Thank you for the lecture 1. What gets measured gets managed. See you next time. Bye.